At 2:43 a.m., the night sky over Texas turned green. It wasn't a meteor, not lightning, not a flare from space junk re-entering the atmosphere. It was a solid beam, sharp, clean, vertical. It cut down from the stars like the finger of a god, stabbing the earth outside of Lubbock with a humming resonance that shook windows 2 towns over. And then came the silence. Not peace, something worse. Dogs stopped barking. Crickets stopped chirping. No engines, no wind, no motion. The earth paused. 3 minutes later, the sky opened. What came through wasn't a ship. It was a hole, a perfect tear in the sky, circular, its edges rimmed in impossible angles that seemed to shift even when still. Through that opening emerged dozens of objects, not quite machines, not quite organic, drifting with purpose. Black with violet veins of light. No wings, no thrusters. Just movement. People who saw them from the ground described a feeling of weight in their chests. A pressure behind the eyes. Like being watched from inside. One of them descended on downtown Houston. It didn't crash. It landed, softly, like a feather made of nightmares. And once it touched down, it began to hum. That's when the glass started shattering. Every window within 10 miles exploded outward. People screamed. Cameras caught the event in real time, live streams showed chaos, people running, bleeding, coughing, collapsing. Some of them simply fell where they stood, their bodies still and eyes vacant, as if something inside had been switched off. By morning, Houston was gone. Not destroyed. Gone. Only an ash ring remained, 50 miles across, perfectly round, and completely empty. No debris. No fire. Just silence. The president declared a national emergency. The military went to DEFCON 1 for the first time in history. Fighter jets scrambled. Satellites shifted. Drones deployed. None of it mattered. Because by the end of that day, 6 more cities vanished the same way. Portland. Minneapolis. San Diego. Atlanta. Charlotte. Kansas City. No warning. No reason. And still, no message. A Pentagon team analyzing satellite data finally found something. Beneath each attack zone, miles underground, seismic anomalies spiked just before the cities were erased. It was as if the Earth itself was reacting. As if something was being woken up. Dr. Anjali Bhatt, a geophysicist working out of Boulder, Colorado, published a report, leaked almost immediately, claiming the aliens weren't simply invaders. They were excavators. They're not attacking us, she wrote. They're unearthing something. Her paper included deep scan images, enormous, root-like structures under the Earth's crust, previously dismissed as magma formations or tectonic scars. But these weren't natural. They were symmetrical. Geometric. And they were stirring. The White House tried to spin it. We're in contact, the press secretary claimed. Diplomatic channels are open. But then New York disappeared. Not all at once. First the subways flooded with black mist. People panicked. Then the bridges collapsed inward, not from bombs, but as if the steel turned soft. Then the lights went out. For 2 hours, nothing was visible from orbit. Just a void where one of the world's greatest cities had once lived. When the light returned, Manhattan was flat. Smooth. Like the surface of a lake, made of glass and bone. That's when people started calling them the Reapers. And then the fear turned to rage. In the backwoods of Kentucky, a militia gathered, armed with everything from hunting rifles to RPGs, and ambushed one of the floating Reaper units in the hills. They lured it in with flare signals, thinking maybe it tracked heat or motion. It didn't matter. The moment it sensed aggression, it responded. A flash of violet, a pulse of vibration, and everyone within a square mile simply froze. Not just paralyzed. Frozen in time. Mid-step, mid-shout, mid-blink. Like statues. Perfect. Untouchable. And still no response from the things in the sky. But finally, on day 9, someone spoke. Not them. Us. From a refugee encampment in Northern California, a 13-year-old girl named Mira Jackson picked up a stick and drew a spiral in the dirt. She stared at it for hours, eyes blank. Then she started speaking in a voice that wasn't hers. Deep. Echoing. Mechanical. Your planet is not your own. You were granted time. The time has ended. Her mother screamed. Someone grabbed a camera. Within minutes, the video went viral. It wasn't a one-off. All over the world, people, children, the elderly, the dying, suddenly became vessels. They all said the same thing, in different languages, at the same time. The tomb awakens. The cycle restored. We reclaimed the seed. Governments collapsed. The internet fractured into isolated nodes. Travel ceased. Electricity flickered only in short bursts. Society didn't fall apart, it shriveled. Shrunk down into isolated pockets of terrified survivors trying to make sense of a world rewritten. Some people gave up. Some fought with rocks and fire. Some listened. Among those who listened was a woman named Shira Lang, a linguist and former intelligence officer. She noticed something odd: each of the Reaper messages, while translated mentally into native language, followed the same cadence. Same structure. Poetic. Almost ritualistic. It's a ritual, she told a handful of scientists holed up in the Sierra Nevada bunkers. A reclamation chant. It's not war, it's a harvest. They weren't exterminating humanity. They were cleansing the surface for something older. Something buried. Below Yellowstone. Below the Congo. Below the Siberian tundra. A being, or a machine, older than civilization. Some kind of seed. Shira found references in ancient Sumerian texts. Not direct, not literal, but mythological echoes. Tales of the deep star, a burning root that came to rest in the bones of the world. Waiting. Sleeping. Growing. The aliens weren't foreign. They were caretakers. Stewards of this seed. And humanity, noisy, chaotic, radioactive humanity, was the overgrowth. A weed. But not all hope was lost. In Iceland, a military research base hidden inside a dormant volcano detected a frequency, barely audible, deep below the earth. A heartbeat. It was rising in tempo. Something was coming up. They devised a plan to send a low-frequency burst through the tectonic plates. Not an attack, an interruption. Like slamming a piano lid shut before the final note. The machine to do it was old, experimental, and dangerous. It required a volcanic conduit, seismic stability, and enough power to fry everything within 5 miles. They had one shot. A pilot named Cass Reed volunteered. She had nothing left. Her family had vanished in Chicago. Her home had burned. Her world had been erased. She loaded the seismic charge, flew it into the chamber, and waited. The pulse was released at 6:06 p.m. Iceland time. Across the planet, every Reaper halted. They began to scream, not audibly, but in frequencies that rattled glass and bones and brains. They convulsed. They folded. And then they fell. Not all. But enough. Dozens crashed. Shattered. Burned. Humanity had drawn blood. The remaining Reapers withdrew. Not in retreat, but in preparation. Because something beneath the earth began to rise. Not fast. Not sudden. Just steady. A shape the size of a continent. Slowly uncoiling from the mantle like a serpent. With a voice older than stars. And a purpose carved into the very rock of the earth. Awakening.